You! What the fuck is your problem?
Listen, you son of a bitch. What the fuck's your problem?
The fuck's your problem?
What the fuck is your problem?
Break out the tissues and lock down your safe space. Somebody's gonna get triggered. My name is Nephi Khaliki, and this is What the Fuck is Your Problem? Where we give ordinary folks an opportunity to air their grievances, air their dirty laundry, get some stuff off their chest about issues that affect the rest of us. And joining me live in the studio is my good friend, the call-in ambulance guy, Mel.
Yo, Nephi. Here we go.
Welcome to another new show.
New show. This is an exciting. What the fuck is your problem?
You've been waiting to say something like that because when we were on the radio, you had a tough time keeping it clean.
Yeah, well, isn't that funny? It's a truth. I love it now. Now I can actually say things the way they should be said.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
So the premise of this show
Okay.
is, the First Amendment is a very important thing in this country because our founding fathers understood if you didn't let people bitch about stuff that eventually they burn shit down. That was why it's important that you listen. And I think we're at a point in our society where our government just doesn't listen anymore. They don't listen to anybody. Once they get in that position,
true.
they're like, who are you? So you've asked me this many times because you've been with me. You've been my ride or die for...
Yeah, like 15 years.
Yeah. So you've said to me often many times, Nephi, what the fuck's your problem? Why do you keep going to war with these mayors and sheriffs and people? Right?
Oh, absolutely, because we were doing with Nevada pigeon control and other things. But that was the main thing. That's the one we spent
Back
the
in the
most
day.
time. Yeah, back in the day. It's like 12, 13 years ago. It's amazing.
And you told me I couldn't beat City Hall back then.
Oh, I remember that.
But
Because,
but
you did. So the story. Tell the story. Should I tell? I mean, what are you saying?
Well, the city was coming after us,
Yes.
not because of what we were doing so much as it was the idea of the former mayor, Mike Montandon, and the new mayor thought, oh, that was his idea. I'm going to squash it. I'm like, hey, I'm under your foot here. I didn't do nothing to you. And it wound up, I remember the animal control guy, Dale Schmuck. He said, nobody cares about your pigeons.
You have it on video.
I do.
I mean, that's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. When
I told him to shove it up his ass.
That's it. He handed you a paper because you were at one of the where we had pigeons in cages, and you told him you did. You told him shove it up his ass or something. Couldn't believe that. Now I wasn't there live. I wasn't there when it happened. I saw the video. I was not there that day. I was probably out working.
Yeah. Well. You told me I couldn't beat City Hall.
But I definitely told you that.
And I did. And not only did I beat City Hall, but through my efforts, we were able to get that mayor removed and got a good mayor, John Lee, in there to replace her.
Yes.
And best move for North Las Vegas.
Well, also, remember, it beat City Hall. Let's expand on that more or less.
Well,
at the hearing, I remember one of the things that I've never seen before, the judge admonished the district attorney as if to say, what the fuck is your problem? Now, he didn't say that. Remember that?
He essentially did.
Oh, he essentially did, but not exactly the words. Something like...
we're not in the business of feuding with businesses.
Right.
And are you willing to work it out with him?
They're not doing anything wrong.
They're just out to get me.
And he had to apologize. No, the district attorney...
They did have to apologize to
I
the
forget
city.
his name.
And they pretty much had to leave me alone after that.
Definitely. Because
I was like Rodney King in North Las Vegas.
Yeah, they didn't want to go in front of that judge again.
No. And this isn't not because I'm starting trouble. All I've done in my whole life with business is do something that nobody's ever done.
No one's done.
And better than anyone could ever do it.
That's one way to put it.
It proof's in the pudding. We were making... $800,000 some years. What we did, some casino properties, $100,000 each. We were killing it, man. We had every major state contract, 46 casinos, the Department of Transportation, Metro Police, CSN, and then hundreds and hundreds of HOAs.
HOAs,
yeah. It's forget about it, right?
And we had bridges.
Bridges, yeah. We closed down bridges to shoot pigeons.
Isn't that funny?
That was great times. And that's the money that I used to open the Las Vegas gunfights. Because we were very
But
successful
also,
at that.
the thing I loved about it, remember, to me, it was like totally strange. Because when I first met you, you don't remember at
Oh, yeah, we met through Mike Tyson's
it was
corner man.
actually
Crocodile.
Crocodile, but what was it?
Zab Judah.
Zab Judah was the boxer that was featured. That was and we met, and I couldn't believe when he introduced me to you that you're Nevada Pigeon Control. I said, what? I mean, because what is that? No one's ever heard of it.
Yeah, it's a military operation against pigeons is what it was.
Military operation. And we were what, Delta Force?
Yeah, we were.
Oh no, or even more clandestine. No, SEALs, Navy SEALs.
We took a lot of shots. Well, I think we calculated we shot over 250,000 birds on the strip.
Yeah, but one of the main things too that you allude to, or we talk about and everything. We were the only people in the world allowed to have a rifle in a casino. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
I mean,
we had earned a lot of trust to get that.
Oh, well, of course, because the one thing in the beginning too, they didn't believe it. Again,
no, it was Station Casinos that gave us our shot.
That was before me. Before I started working for you. You were doing it, of course.
Yeah,
and you promised them that they would have no pigeons,
or they didn't have to pay me.
That was it. It was a deal. 30 days. We come in, and in 30, you're net 30. 30 days. If you still have pigeons, do not pay us.
That's right. And we got our check every time.
And then had every station casino after
Yes. Well, this is all great to go down memory lane about pigeons.
Well, but now let's. But what the fuck is your problem?
It was worth fighting for that. Right,
because
we controlled pigeons on the strip. This is historic. And I'm the only person with clearance to shoot on the strip.
Or in a casino. Remember, well, again, we don't want to reminisce. It's not the show.
On CSN properties. And I used to sit on the roof all day at Metro and shoot pigeons.
Which is pretty amazing. It's
huge
crazy.
Difference from our relationship today.
Now, they were ribbed. It wasn't live bullets.
They're live bullets. They're just
air rifles,
pneumatic rifles. Anyway, that brings us. We were successful at that business, but we fought some fights to get there.
Oh yeah,
I fought for the right to do our business the way we saw fit, and then I took about $600,000 out of that business and built the Las Vegas gunfights.
Right
after we were running that program for a while, we had the Route 91 Music Festival. Where over 500 people were injured, 60 people were killed. It was an attack on our community. And I knew that people were going to be upset about and affected, with trauma after this event. And so I thought, we need to get them around guns again. Like Maverick, get him back in the air as soon as possible after Goose dies, right? Because if you give in to that fear, you'll never get back up. And so I thought, you know what? Let's do a free CCW class for everybody affected by Route 91. Thought everybody get behind it as much as they did, Vegas Strong. And it was free. And we had 14,000 people sign up. And we only had room for 1,000. So day of the event, thousands more than were supposed to be there showed up. And we got everybody loaded in, told everybody else that was left, we'll do another class for you. And after asking Metro if they were okay with this whole thing and saying, yes, it was, they sent an undercover into the class 2 hours after it started. And he acted like he is coming out of the bathrooms, and he was allowed to sit down. Now, he's the only person that was late.
Yeah.
And he didn't get a certificate either. So them nullifying everyone's permit in that class because of that guy, that's wrong. But what was really disturbing about it is the whole day went off without a hitch. Mm-hmm. Everybody went down there, took their paperwork, turned it in, paid their $100. That's $100,000, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
And then after you have 2 weeks that you break your class up into 2 4-hour blocks. But you got 2 weeks to do it. So Sheriff Lombardo waited until that 2 weeks had expired and they had paid their $100,000 and then said, class is nullified. If you don't take it again 8 hours within 30 days, you lose your money. That's a jack move, man.
Yes.
That's That's a scam. It's horrible. That's a jack move. Right? So, and then they put me under grand jury investigation, which is funny because there was no money changing hands. What crime is there? Right? But they put me under grand jury investigation and found some stupid reason, shut my business down for 9 months. Cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. And I was like, what is their fucking problem? I didn't really understand what it was then. And but I fought my way back, got reopened, reinstated. And of course, the first thing to do then is another mass event.
Yes.
Right? That's how you got to show, hey, I'm alive and kicking. Here I am. We're doing it again. We did this event, and it was at the library. I had like 600 people. The infamous library incident, where I told some gun safety jokes, which are still quite hilarious. And it went viral all over the world. My friend in Sweden called me and said that my friggin' face is on the news in Sweden. The jokes were that good, right? And Lombardo, the sheriff who was running for governor at the time, was embarrassed because one of his instructors that he certifies is out there embarrassing him in the middle of his campaign. So he suspends my license to instruct for the second time. Well, that's First Amendment, man. You can't revoke my license because I told a friggin' joke. That's the joke.
Yes.
So I fought my way back again, got reinstated. And then a couple students were shot in classes around the city, including at our facility. Somebody got grazed in the leg from a first-time shooter, and in another range, somebody got grazed in the head. You know, it's happened. And there's a huge increase in new shooters going to classes. So I thought, you know what? We have non-lethal ammo that we're the only civilian organization in Southern Nevada that has access to this. So we'll offer it to all instructors to make CCW classes 100% safe. Nobody will ever die from this day forward. Which seems like a good idea.
Sounds like a good idea to me. Of course.
All right. So I wrote a proposal. Right. Send it to the Sheriff's Association, who creates the standards, and to the Sheriff's Department. And while I'm patiently waiting for them to respond, they secretly changed the standards and then revoked my license for being in violation of a standard they never even changed in 10 years, and then all of a sudden they changed it so they could specifically revoke me.
When they change a standard like that, don't they publish it, or don't they have to
They did not.
That's because... Shouldn't it be? Do you have to send a letter?
Yeah, wait till my lawyer gets a hold of them for that.
You're in litigation about it now.
Yeah, we've got 3 open lawsuits against them. So they revoked me. This is the recent revocation, right? A few other things they were complaining about, but that's the gist of it. Is that I was using non-lethal ammo to qualify people. Oh my God, he's making it safer. Stop him. Right? But who revoked me was the Sheriff's Association sent me a letter. Well, first Metro sent me a letter saying, hey, you're suspended for using non-lethal ammo. And I go, no, blah. I made an argument. They go, you know what? You're right. We'll reinstate you. They sent me a letter of reinstatement.
So Metro.
Metro. All right? Okay. Then they said, but the Sheriff's Association may have something to say about it too. And at that point, I was already like, fuck those guys. Who are they? Right? They're a civilian organization. They have no authority. I already knew that. So I didn't care what they had to say about it. But all I knew is I had a reinstatement letter from the sheriff. It's all the information that mattered to me. So the Sheriff's Association then sends me a letter a few months later saying, we've met on the matter and decided that your authority to instruct throughout the state of Nevada is hereby revoked. And I was like, wipe my ass with that letter. You're a civilian organization, a company just like mine. Who the hell are you to tell me that I can be in business or not be in business? Who are you to take my livelihood away? You're not a government agency. You're a civilian organization just like mine. Go fuck yourself. And that's exactly what I said to him. Well, then I sued him for fraud, for even trying to revoke my licenses. Right, because that is fraud. They're using the state seal illegally. It's a gross misdemeanor to use that seal, and it's right smack on their homepage in their logo. Then they're using language like your ability to instruct within the state of Nevada, right? So that tends to give reliance on that information. And then the doofus Leah Roscoe signs it under sheriff. He uses his official law enforcement title to sign a letter on civilian letterhead. This is oppression under color of law. It's fraud.
Yeah.
It's fraudulent misrepresentation. So I sued him for it. Every sheriff in Nevada I sued for fraud. So what'd they do? They arrested me 2 weeks later for fraud. For instructing CCW classes after my license had been revoked. My license was never revoked because the Sheriff's Association doesn't have diddly squat for authority.
But you said Metro reinstated.
Metro reinstated me.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm going by. You
Well,
write me a
that's the
ticket on a
official-
napkin that says, hey, you're asshole, you're double parked out in the parking lot. Here's a $250 fee that you need to pay to Venmo. I'd wipe my ass with your paper ticket. And that's what the Sheriff's Association letter is to me.
Right.
The statute that gives them authority to create training standards, which is you can create curriculum and you can put stars and grades on papers, but that's it.
Of course.
Curriculum. No authority. They're not government. So how all of a sudden they acting like we're revoking your permit? Well, who had the authority to give me that permit? The sheriff.
Because they can't.
No, the sheriff. So who has the authority then to take it? The sheriff. Well, I got a letter from the sheriff said I'm reinstated. And then I got some toilet paper with some handwritten notes on it from the Sheriff's Association. What I do? Well, I wipe my ass with it. And then they have their buddies at Metro charge me with fraud. So you want to ask me what the fuck's my problem? All right, we're getting there. I've always asked myself, why are they so against me being successful? Because all I've ever wanted to do is be the best at what I do and do what nobody's ever done before. And I did it. That's to take CCW classes from a boring 8-hour Elmer Fudd porn session, right, to a Tony Robbins level experience. Nobody's ever put 1,000 people in a class at a time and entertained and educated. I call them entertainment. No one's ever done that before. And I've done it 5 times in those big classes, and I have hundreds of millions of views online, and I've changed the lives of my students. Even the cops that arrested me were said, yeah, you're definitely the best instructor. Why are you messing with me then? Why, whenever I send a proposal or an idea or ask for a meeting or I try to make something better, I get ignored, completely ignored? And I realized, you know what? I know what it is. Uh-oh. And so you're going to have to go back to 1995 to understand what this means. The state legislature was contemplating making Nevada a shall-issue state in 95, where you don't need justification to get a permit. You just need to qualify. Well, the sheriffs and the Sheriff's Association, that civilian lobbyist group, they both were opposed to citizens having a concealed weapon permit issued on a shall-issue basis. In fact, they called us weirdos, wackos, and perverts. That's what they think of us, right? They didn't want us having guns. Because the police department, why would they be opposed to it? Well, it's because law enforcement doesn't like guns on the street they don't know about. Pretty simple understanding of their mentality, right? Regardless of the fact that that would trump other people's rights, right, in favor of theirs, is not quite correct, but it's another story. Well, the law passed anyway, and we became a shall-issue state, and the DMV was in charge of processing permits, and sheriffs could approve different courses for training. Well, there was no uniformity in the courses, and they were just all over the place. And, of course, sheriffs, sometimes change every 4 or 8 years. It was turning into chaos. So during that 2 years, the police departments and the association figured out, we can't give up this fight. We don't like these guns out there we don't know about. How can we get it and stop that? So they came back to the legislature 2 years later and said, you know what? You see all this chaos? We've got a solution. Sheriff's departments will approve and process permits, and the association will create training standards that we'll all go by. So those standards were only for sheriffs. There's no interaction between the association and the public, right, and instructors. It's just creating a training standard for sheriff's departments, not us. And it seemed like a good solution because ostensibly they were coming in to help out. Well, you have to ask yourself, what changed their mind? It didn't change their mind. They were changing their strategy. Because their objective is, they realize that if we want to control the number of guns on the street we don't know about, then we need to be in control of the process of approval and revocation of those permits. Makes sense? And so then the purpose of the Sheriff's Association was to coordinate all the sheriff's departments and how they were going to systemically suppress and control the number of permits in each county. And this is evidenced by the fact that if you look at the numbers, we should be on track to have 211,000 permittees in Nevada. We're holding firm at 160. And if you look at it in a graph, right, because we had to enter all this information through a FOIA request into Excel and then put it in a graph. And I thought the graph wasn't working right because it was like this. And if you look at the day-to-day numbers, 7 months out of the year last year, we were losing permits, sometimes 250 to 500 permits a month that we were losing. That means we could have lost more than that.
How do you lose permits? You say,
that's the thing.
Yeah,
it's not. Now you could say some are expired.
Well, some expired.
Somebody
die.
gets a warrant.
Yeah,
somebody dies.
Oh,
but that's not. That wouldn't explain that kind of number.
Okay, that's what I'm.
That wouldn't explain that kind of number. So as I'm thinking about this, and I'm like, their objective is they don't want people having permits. That explains why they keep coming after me, because their objective is here. And I'm on the other side going, bam.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? That guy is messing up our program. Get him out of the way. That's the only explanation, is I'm contradicting their motives. It's not just because Joe Lombardo's an asshole, although that is a heavy weight on that scale. It's not enough to get involved in feuding and petty feuding. So it's got to be something more substantial than that. And that is that the objective of the sheriff's departments and the association are to control permits, not to issue them. So, so I looked into that and I said, wait a minute. Every time we start getting an increase in numbers, they take a butter knife to the top of the measuring dish, right? You take and you level the top, and that keeps it. That's where it's always getting a haircut, right? It's just staying level. And then you look at all 18 sheriff's departments; they're doing the same thing. They literally are just the same algorithm with different starting numbers. And I'm like, this thing broke, right? It didn't look right. And nope, check the numbers. We're losing permits in Clark County 7 months out of the year. And we're holding at 160, which is like that's the most number of permits they want out on the street at any one time. So, but what happens to those other people above that other 50,000 people? They're getting screwed. Yeah. And guess who they are? What's the number one demographic that's increasing in gun ownership in America right now? Black Americans. They're the ones getting shaved off the top. And you know how they're doing it? Marijuana.
Whoa.
Because black folks, they smoke weed like I smoke my hookah. It's a cultural thing. Mm-hmm. And so what happened? They let you go in there. Oh, hello, Mr. Black and Brown person. Go ahead and submit your application. That'll be $100, please. Thank you very much. They get the 100, and then they issue them a permit, and then they do the dance. They got their permit, and they're happy about it, and then they get a letter in the mail. It's been discovered that you visited a dispensary 6 months ago, and we're revoking your permit for violating blah, 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 blah.
Wait, just visiting?
Buying something.
Well,
problem is you need a warrant to look at someone's finances. They're looking at the Department of Agriculture records.
Oh.
And I threatened them over that. If they were doing it, we'd sue. Even though I don't mess with weed, that doesn't mean you should die. There's a lot of alcoholics out there that still get their permits, even though they were drunk the night before they went to the police department. Right? It should be while you're inebriated or intoxicated.
Okay.
It should be the same. I agree with that. But who does that most unfairly affect? Blacks and minorities and veterans. Right? Because a lot of these guys don't want to be on psychotropic drugs. They would rather smoke some weed to deal with some of their issues. And I support that. I don't mess with weed. But so veterans and blacks and browns and all these people, they're getting their permits revoked. That's how they're culling the list. Because you're going to have more people smoking weed than you have dying every day. Right? So you have a list of different ways they do it. But they all are helping each other. These sheriff's departments are all helping each other figure out how to screw somebody out of their constitutional right. And that's my problem. That's my fucking problem. Right? That's racism. It violates constitutional rights on a systemic level. This is pre-civil rights in this country because black Americans are enjoying 3/5 of their constitutional rights in this country. Just because you say everything is equal doesn't mean it's equal, especially like during COVID when they had to limit on the number of applications could be done per day. That's 24 a day. Well, that made CCW permitting a raffle because that's not the demand. The number of appointments should be based on the demand, not, sorry, too late. We're closed at 5. You're done. No. If there's 1 million permits that want to get processed in this country, or excuse me, in this county, then you need to hire some more people because it's a shall issue state. And that's my problem. You don't get to throttle that. You don't get to decide, oh, there's too many permits out there. We're not going to process these more. We're going to delay it or whatever. And you know there's temporary permits that have been on the books since 95. The sheriffs can issue temporary permits on the spot. But you know what they use them for? If Metro's about to go over the 120 days they legally have to give somebody that permit, they give them a temporary permit to cover their own ass. But if somebody comes in there just got their ass beat in a robbery, or a woman got raped walking home from school, or somebody was a victim of some violent crime, they go in and ask for a temporary permit. Nope, you got to wait 120 days. What kind of shit is that? You see? But the temporary, I know the look on your face is priceless.
Yeah, but temporary permit, does it ever become a permanent permit?
It could.
In 120 days?
It could, but it doesn't because they don't use it for your and my benefit. It was written for the people. Yeah. They use it for their VIP buddies, and they use it to save their ass from going over a 120-day period. That's not what it was there for, man. You understand the nature of violence is imminent jeopardy. If I just got robbed last night, the guy gets away and he says, I'm coming back tomorrow if you snitch, right? And you go to the police like you're supposed to, and then they say, oh, yeah, I'm going to get a permit. Well, you can open carry. That's not a solution. This is my problem. This is your problem. And if they're using the Sheriff's Association to collude, to suppress control, permitting in Nevada, especially against minorities. That's why when I created the CCW test in 4 different languages, they didn't give a shit. They threw it away. Why? Because they already don't want regular citizens out there carrying guns they don't know about. The last thing they want is a bunch of black, brown people and a non-English speaking motherfuckers out there carrying guns they don't know about. I don't care. I understand that there are people out there who aren't very good at things. That doesn't mean they don't have a right to try to protect themselves and their family if they're threatened. Those are the ones that need it the most. So I have a problem. I have a problem with systemic suppression of constitutional rights. I have a problem with them allowing black Americans in this county, in this state, to only enjoy 3/5 of their constitutional right. And all my brothers and sisters know what I'm talking about when I say 3/5. What's changed from the civil rights movement? And all we've done is, well, it looks like you have a permit here and you qualify, but when it comes down to it, you don't get shit. And that's being tricked out of your rights or giving the illusion that you have a right. Yeah. And that's the problem that I have. And that's why I'm going to the state legislature. Whether I win this term or I win next term or I get state senate, I will make it in. You bet your ass I will eventually get elected. And when I do, Nevada Sheriffs and Chiefs Association, I will deal with your ass from there. Because what you're doing to people and their rights, it's traitors. They're traitors to this Constitution. They swore an oath. You oath-breaking piece of shit motherfuckers. How dare you disrespect the badge and this flag by suppressing the very rights that you swore an oath to protect? That's my fucking problem. Mm-hmm. And you've asked me about it before and questioned it. Did I answer your question now?
What's your problem? Yes. And it's a serious issue, serious problem. And have you spoken to other people about,
they're too afraid, Mel.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It sounds like It's a great idea, great prompt. But well, you're picking a fight with the sheriffs with Metro.
All sheriffs. I sued all the sheriffs in Nevada.
All the sheriffs in Nevada, and sheriffs would be county. Right? No,
the Sheriff's Association represents every sheriff and police chief in Nevada. And I sued all their sorry asses. And I've been back to blue, my whole life, man. And now I can't even watch cop movies because I'm so disgusted with what they're doing to suppress people's rights. The very thing they swore an oath to protect is the very thing they're jacking people for.
Now, you have spoken to them about this.
Oh, man, they don't want to listen. And that's why I've sued them 5
you've
times.
You've said that. Yeah, you did bring that up.
You think they want people to know what I know?
Yes.
No, of course they don't. Of course they don't. And they made a critical mistake because the only time I saw them jump to anything was when I CC'd all the state legislators and senators in an email to them. Oh, they freaked out when I did that. And I'll go, oh, I found their hot button. I'm now going to become an assemblyman or a state senator. And, the beautiful thing about that position is not just you vote on bills. It's oversight, just like the Congress and Senate is oversight for government, right? A state legislature has the authority to initiate investigations and audits of all government departments to make sure that they're also following the laws that the House passed. Oh, wait till I get to look up your skirts. Wait.
Oh,
until I get to look up their skirts.
That's not going to be pretty.
It ain't going to be pretty. I bet there are crabs and all kinds of STDs up there. Because that's how bad this stinks, Mel. And, it's not that it affects me, because I got all the guns I want. I got all the permits and everything else. It's not about me. But I feel like it's my role as someone who is squared away in that department to then help other people that aren't. Because it makes our society safer. It makes it better, more polite. It makes it more livable for people and for our future and our posterity. I'm doing it for other people. I don't walk down the street and worry about myself. I walk down the street and worry about other people who are looking at their cell phones or not paying attention or don't have the ability to defend themselves. I feel responsible to help those people, and I've dedicated my life to doing that. And when I see a bully, that's what it is, a constitutional bully that is willing to violate their oath, which means you are a person of no honor, to screw people over and take away a right from them. I took as being an instructor as serious as a doctor should taking a Hippocratic oath.
Of course.
But law enforcement, that oath you took, man, there's so many out there that need to burn their uniforms and take off that badge and remove themselves from that position of honor, because an oath is an oath. I believe my word is my word. If I make an oath, that's even more serious. That's like a covenant.
Mm-hmm. And
there has to be some sacredness to that, and the respect and honor for the flag and the badge. Man, it's shameful. Shameful what they've done. And I'm going to handle it the right way. I'm not going to do anything stupid other than, some civil disobedience and get them into the courts and then run for office and get myself in a different position to be able to deal with my fucking problem.
But that's your best option. Run for office. You said that.
And I'll be good. I'll be great in that position.
I can see that.
So that's my problem, Mel.
Yeah, I'm glad I know. No, wow.
Well, something has to be done about it. And you asked why other people aren't jumping in, and I do have actually after. Well,
there are some.
After that, sure. There is. We have the Constitutional Sheriff and Peace Officers Association that.
What's that again?
Constitutional Sheriff and Peace Officers Association.
Oh.
They're like the Sheriffs and Chiefs Association,
right.
But not corrupt like the one we have here.
Not corrupted.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Because they respect their oath that they took.
Yeah.
Right. So, and sheriffs have a lot of ability to change a lot of these things, and the fact that they're not, well, you're gonna have to deal with that. But the suppression of people's rights, especially minorities in this state, when people figure out what they're doing, well, they're going to be beside themselves. They're going to be angry because we thought we were done with this racist bullshit in this country.
Oh, yeah.
And we're not. We're not. Clearly, we're not. And I lay out the evidence, and they can be pissed about it all they want. I don't care. It's not like, what else? You going to try to throw me in jail? No, you tried that already. Whatever. If you think you can shut me up, you're going to have to kill me. That's the only way to shut me up or to get me to compromise on my oath is to kill me.
Which you will never do.
Yeah. Well, good luck. I'll stack them up if someone ever tried to take my life. But that's not the point. The point is, where's the honor in this, right? You took an oath, and that oath is sacred. And people should remember that, man. I mean, all it takes for me is to see somebody singing the national anthem, from their heart. That's all it takes to renew my faith in this country. And I love it. And I still get goosebumps all these years later. And I don't want to lose that, man. And I don't want other people to lose that same love and respect for this country and for what it stands for. And look, I promise you, in law enforcement, somebody told me years ago, and I'm an ex-bounty hunter.
Yes.
And I was a little too cowboyish and gung-ho when we got in the beginning, and we got in a fight with a defendant named Manshun Lomax. He's a big dude. And we got a little over excited, got a little carried away, and we tuned him up a bit. We did him wrong. And was putting him in the car, and he's handcuffed, and I'm driving. My partner's in the back, and he said something to me I never forgot. Changed my life. And Manshun, if you ever hear this, man, thank you for that advice. He knew we'd done him dirty.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't going to say nothing to snitch because he knows what his word against ours. But he looked at me, he said, y'all can be touched. Y'all can be touched. And I thought about that the whole ride to county. What's to stop this guy from getting bailed out again, driving by my office, shooting through my front window, catching me getting in my car in a parking lot, catching me at the grocery store, catching me all worked up on some honey at a club, and catch me slipping. Mm-hmm. What's to stop a bullet from getting to me?
Oh,
nothing.
Nothing.
And I thought, you know what? I'm going to be a fair person from that day forward. And I decided that I'd do one favor for every defendant. And it usually involved grabbing the weed or coke out of their pocket and saying, hey, this is another charge. But I'm throwing it away. I'm going to do you solid. And I throw it in the trash in front of them. And then they would be thanking me when they got to jail.
Yeah.
And you know what? I bumped into somebody one time at a party, and I didn't really recognize him. And he goes, man, you busted me like 2 years ago. You were jumping up and down on my bed, putting your gun in my face. He said, wake up, asshole, time to go to jail. Because I used to do a lot of antics like that, just, crazy stuff.
No, you're crazy.
and I was about ready to pull out a knife and stab this guy. And he saw that, and he's like, no, we're cool. I got my life together. And he goes, you got me, but on the way to jail, you threw some dope I had on me away, and you didn't pile on and make it worse. You were fair. And I thought, you know what? Thank God for Manshun Lomax giving me that advice. Y'all can be touched. Because I never had to watch my back after that. Every defendant, man, I treated them with some extra measure of fairness. So when they saw me later to go, man, he could have really stuck it to me, but he gave me a break. He was cool. And that bought me peace. That bought my safety for years. I still live in the town I've arrested over 700 people in. Mm-hmm. So this is What the Fuck Is Your Problem, Mel?
What the fuck is your problem?
And we're going to open it up next time for other people to bring up some of the issues that they have.
Right.
So thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time on What the Fuck Is Your Problem?